Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
We're going to get to the bottom of some of this 49er nonsense now. It's a drive, guys. And our next guest here, former NFL player, CBS NFL analyst Ross Tucker, host of the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. You can check him out on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. Ross Tucker, it's Whitey, Gleason and Kyle Draper. How are you today, sir?
Wow, it's great to hear your guys' voice. Great to talk with you guys. Feels like it's been a while. Thanks for having me.
Yes, it has. What's up, Big Ross? How you doing, man? It's Drapes.
Oh man, I'm doing awesome. You know, I got 2 more weekends before the grind starts. I do the Eagles preseason games, so two more totally free weekends, and then I'm on my grind till the Super Bowl. But that's okay. My grind is going to football games and talking about them.
Ross, of course, you know he's a big sausage McMuffin with egg guy. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
I do like sausage McMuffin.
It's the best.
Yeah,
it's the
those
best.
are pretty good.
We used to do a show with Ross, and every week he would give out his sausage McMuffin with egg player of the week.
I like that. I like that. Okay.
So Trent Williams, Ross, the 49ers now got a contract deal going on with him. You haven't played. What makes him so good, and would the 49ers be an actual Super Bowl contender without him?
Well, he's a rare athlete. It goes back to when he was coming out of Oklahoma, and his physical testing numbers, like in the 40 and the agility, are just sort of unheard of for a guy his size, or at least very rare. You guys have been fortunate there because Joe Staley was a freak athlete as well. I would also say, a big thing for Trent is he's not just a physical marvel. He backs that up with being a technician. And I think the thing that might separate him as much as anything else is his confidence. He plays very, very confidently, and, it shows, right? I mean, he's a difference-making player in the run game with some of the blocks that he's able to make that other guys at his position are not, whether it's a backside cutoff, pulling on the front side, and he's a very good pass protector as well. It's interesting because there's a long track record or history of the Shanahan offense feeling like they can get by with average offensive linemen at the other spots, but not at left tackle. They've always felt like they really need a very high-end player there, and they've been able to get that guy a lot. You go back to Gary Zimmerman and, Tony Jones in Denver, that they've always sort of made sure they had a physical phenom at that left tackle spot.
Hey, Ross, we were looking at Trent's contract, and I think he's 3 years, 0 guarantees left on his deal. Did that surprise you? I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or, talk about his agent or anything, but when I saw that, I was shocked by that. What did you make of his contract and the fact that there's no guarantees left on there?
Didn't think much of it. He got a deal early, when he still had a year or 2 left on the last one. And so you're not going to see many, if any, offensive line contracts with guarantees into the 3rd year. So he got a really nice bump, pay raise, and he got guarantees those couple years. And so, what he kind of gave up in exchange for that was the guaranteed money in these last 3 years.
Yeah.
But this could very possibly have been the strategy all along, right? I mean, not having any guaranteed money is only a problem if you're not willing to, first of all, if you don't still play at a high level, and secondly, if you're not willing to fight for your right for guaranteed money, so to speak, right? So, he's made so much money, and he knows the Niners need him. So I think he feels very comfortable with sitting out, knowing they will make some sort of an adjustment to get the money he deserves or the guaranteed money that he wants. So, it's only a problem if you're not willing to do what it takes to get the next contract. And he has a lot of leverage in the sense that he has shown previously he's willing to sit out. willing to sit out games on principle, and the Niners know that, and so they'll be able to come to some sort of happy medium, I would imagine. What I don't understand, and I never will, is why any of these guys hold out of training camp and give back $50,000 a day. I mean, I don't know. I guess I saw a quote from Kyle Shanahan about Aiyuk having a sore neck and sore back. I would think that Trent Williams would be more likely to go that route. My neck, my back, and not have to.
Don't finish that lyric, Ross. Don't finish that lyric.
No, I know. My only rule for my 7 years as a journeyman player that made the minimum 5 of my 7 years is I'm giving nothing back to the team ever. like never, ever am I giving them $1 back. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Ross Tucker with us. You can follow him on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. There used to be a thing called a trash compactor, and now the 49ers they're in a cash compactor where they've got the walls are closing in because you got to pay Aiyuk, you want to pay Trent Williams, and then you got Brock Purdy's deal coming up here where next year you may be looking what you're going to have to pay him. Long story short, Ross, I'm just wondering, I know you probably talked about this till you're sick of it. Are you a Brock Purdy guy?
I am a Brock Purdy guy. And let me just say this too. I would be very surprised if Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams don't play, barring injury, of course, in every game for the San Francisco 49ers this year. Right? I mean, this is what we talk about in July. I don't even know if it's considered late July yet. But when it gets time to where these teams feel like, okay, we need these guys in, we need them ready to go, they'll figure it out. I'm not really worried about it. It's good talk radio fodder now, and it'll be interesting to see how they resolve it. But I would suspect that these guys are going to play in every game for the Niners this year. I am definitely a Brock Purdy guy.
Nice.
It's so funny to hear people act like, anybody can do this in this system, because my retort to that would be, well, if that's the case, then why didn't Trey Lance do it? They gave up a lot for Trey Lance. He's significantly more physically gifted than Brock. If it's that easy to just run or operate Kyle's offense, why didn't Trey do it? And the answer is because he couldn't, not to the level that Purdy does. What's happened because of social media is we've become such a highlight-driven culture that a quarterback just throwing the ball on time to the right guy in the right place, nobody is wowed by that. That doesn't go viral, and nobody really thinks that, it's all that impressive, right? And so people like Tom Brady ran it. I mean, there's people that still think Tom Brady is like a system quarterback just because, he doesn't do anything like Mahomes or Josh Allen or any of these guys, right? So, that's kind of where Purdy, I'm not saying Purdy is Tom Brady. I'm just saying he falls into the category of there will always be people that will be skeptical of him, especially until he wins a championship, because he doesn't do anything in their mind that's visually impressive. And we're such a visual society now, that like people don't realize how impressive it is. Nobody ever said, holy crap, did you see that 7-yard pass from Brady to Welker? Nobody ever said that. But when you do that over and over and over again, right guy, right time, right place against the right defense, well, then, that level of consistency allows your team to have a winning performance. And that's what we've seen from Brock. And it's why I am very, very high on him. I think it's a lot more difficult to do what he's doing. He makes it look easy because of how well he's doing it, how well he's operating it. It's not it's not that easy.
Yeah, I don't understand those people.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, Ross, because
I don't understand those people.
I was at the doctor's the other day, and she told me to watch my blood pressure. So I'm not going to get into it with you right now. I'm not going to get into the merits of Brock Purdy or not right now. But one of the discussions we had before you came on was, what kind of contract is Brock Purdy looking at? There's some that say he may be a $65 million man. It's just hard for me to wrap around the money that's going to be thrown around quarterbacks who, in my opinion, aren't the Patrick Mahomes or the Burrows or the Josh Allens. Where do you think Brock Purdy fits in salary-wise when it's all said and done?
Well, so that's a different conversation and a very interesting one. It reminds me a little bit of the Tua conversation in Miami, which is that, Tua operates McDaniel's offense at a really, really high level. And so he's very valuable to them. But I wonder just how much Tua would get on the open market, right? If it's not Mike McDaniel's offense, they don't have Tyreek Hill and Waddle, et cetera, the injury history that Tua has, the inability to make second reaction plays, I don't know how much Tua would really get on the open market, and I would put Purdy in the same category. Now, I think he would get over $50 million a year from someone, and perhaps if he was really on the market and teams really needed a winning starting quarterback, a top 10 caliber quarterback, that they would pay Brock that much, but I'm just not sure. I know that people would do that for Josh Allen or Mahomes or Lamar Jackson. I think they'd even do it for Dak, but I think Purdy is more in the Tua category in the sense that there would probably be some healthy skepticism as to whether or not he could function at as high of a level for another team in a different offense. That said, there's enough teams out there now that sort of have Kyle Shanahan tree, right, with Minnesota and the Dolphins and all. These guys are everywhere now, even the OC in Atlanta and Cincinnati. And so there's enough places now running some semblance of what the Niners run that Purdy probably would get a lot of money from one of them to say, well, look, we saw how well he ran it in San Francisco. We think he could run it that well here. But I would love to see it. I'd love to see Tua hit free agency. I'd love to see Purdy hit free agency. I highly doubt either one of those happens.
Ross Tucker is with us. And Ross, in just a moment, we're going to ask you about myfrontpagestory.com. Before we get to that, I know we used to ask you about the Sausage McMuffin Player of the Week, and now, we don't have the season yet. So spinning it ahead, who is the Ross Tucker Sausage McMuffin surprise team pick for the upcoming season?
Ooh, surprise team. You know what I'll go with? I will go with the Washington Commanders.
Whoa.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
I'll go Washington. Well, listen, you said surprise.
Yes.
I always think it's stupid when you say surprise, and then the guys will be like, I kind of like the Ravens. Like, really?
Right.
They're in the NFC Championship game. I mean, if we're going to do surprise, let's do surprise.
Yes. Okay.
I think Dan Quinn's a good coach. I think that they have a better roster than people realize. I think this is the first year where it's really a clean slate from an ownership perspective. And everybody that came on my show, and there was a lot of them. I mean, Phil Simms, Greg Cosell, Sean King, Chase Daniel. I'm forgetting like 3 or 4 others. All came on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast pre-draft. They just raved and raved about Jaden Daniels. I mean, he was clearly the fastest and best runner of the rookies. I was told he was the best pure pocket passer. I was told he was the best progression reader. I don't sit there and study these guys for 5 college games and say, oh, look at his footwork and, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not doing that. That's why I bring on these guys on the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. But they all, some of them flat out said they thought he was better than Caleb Williams. Others didn't say that, but certainly talked with more vim and vigor about Daniels than they did about Caleb Williams. And so I'm kind of buying in. I'm kind of buying in, especially with the running threat and that element. And, you know, having a guy like Kingsbury who did some good things offensively with Kyler Murray, I'm kind of buying Jay. Now, I don't know if they'll make the playoffs, but I think they'll be in it until the end. I think they'll be maybe right near the Cowboys at, 9 wins, 8 or 9 wins. Maybe they even get to 10. I'm going to go Washington as the surprise team on the strength of all the things I just said.
Okay. It sounded almost like he was talking himself into it at the end.
No, but he makes sense. When he said 9 wins with the Cowboys, that means my Eagles, Ross Tucker, has winning the division. Ross, give me something, some optimism, some light that I can grab onto regarding the Eagles. What are you expecting from them this season?
Well, I think they have significant upgrades at both coordinator positions.
Yeah.
You know, they had one of the worst collapses we've ever seen. The way last season ended, no one has ever doubted the talent on the roster, but defensively, they made the change to Patricia, and that was an abject failure. Mm-hmm. And then offensively, they could not figure out how to stop a zero blitz. I don't think that's going to happen with Kellen Moore. I'm a Kellen Moore fan. I think that's a huge upgrade for them. And then defensively, I think Vic Fangio has long been considered, and you guys know that going back to when he was in San Francisco, as being one of, if not the best D coordinator in the league. And I think just having those two experienced guys, as opposed to what they had last year, represents a gigantic upgrade, and two guys that I believe will do a better job of utilizing what's still a really, really talented roster. I mean, just you look at their receivers, the tight end, they got Saquon at running back. The O-line has 3 guys making over $20 million a year, and deservedly so. They have a really good roster, especially on offense.
Ross, before we let you go, I got a birthday coming up in our family 2 weeks, and I'm not a great birthday shopper. I've come across this myfrontpagestory.com. Tell me about it. Is it a great gift idea? Should I be looking closer at that, Ross?
Honestly, my buddy started the company. It's the best gift idea I've heard of.
Really?
And most people don't even know about it because they haven't heard of it, but now you have. It's called myfrontpagestory.com. A lot of guys get them for their wives for birthdays or anniversaries, or for their mom for Mother's Day. You talk to one of their writers for 10 minutes while you're driving to work or driving home. Tell them how great your wife is, or whoever you want to get the gift for. Send them a couple pictures of you and your wife and the kids. They write this awesome story. It looks like it's on the cover of the newspaper, framed, beautiful. And it's honestly, guys, I've seen so many videos now. As they're opening it, just being able to say, I want to do something special, so I had a story written about you, that just sounds awesome. And then they read the quote where it says, I just don't thank her enough for all the little things she does for me and the family. I've seen so many women cry now on these videos. It's hilarious. We should actually make a woman crying mashup, because we have so many videos where they're doing it. Highly recommend. Honestly, even if you don't have a birthday or anniversary coming up, just go to myfrontpagestory.com now and throw your email address in there. I think you get a code sent to you right away for a 20% discount. Ooh. But maybe even more importantly, they'll send you an email a month before Valentine's Day, a month before Mother's Day, as a reminder. Hey, remember you heard that guy that loves sausage McMuffin with egg on the radio telling you this is the best gift ever? Well, here's your reminder to get it for somebody for Valentine's Day or Mother's Day. It's myfrontpagestory.com. Highly recommend it. myfrontpagestory.com.
Ross, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it, brother. Enjoy the rest of your off season. We'll talk to you soon.
Sounds great. See you guys.
All right,
okay. Ross Tucker. big Brock Purdy guy.
No, and he made
Doesn't
some excellent
understand
points.
some of these anti-Brock Purdy people.
You're not going to get my blood pressure up. I'm telling you, I take my blood pressure every day. I'm trying to keep it
He kind of
down.
agreed with you on the contract, though.
Right, exactly. And he made a good point. And I understand Brock Purdy, his deal coming up, the timing and everything like that. But if he was on the open market, would somebody give him $65 million? Would somebody pay $65 million for Brock? He mentioned it. They probably played Dak, maybe that. Josh Allen, that, some of the other guys, but Brock Purdy. And so,
well, look what Kirk Cousins got. And it also, he made a great point. There's so many teams now running that offense, that zone stretch, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And that's what it is now. It's baseball, basketball. Who's the best player? And in football, it's like, well, who can run our system? Who's good at our system?
Right. Exactly. And one of the things that he brought up too, the Commanders as the surprise team. That's shocking to me because immediately when he said that, I'm like, in that tough division? But the Commanders always, year in and year out, seem to give the Eagles some fits. A loss, tight game, overtime, tie, whatever it may be. And I like Jalen Daniels at quarterback. It would be interesting to see if they become a model, stable franchise instead of the joke that they've been recently.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Bears I don't even know if it would be a surprise because there's so many people expecting them to be better.
Can Caleb jump in and guide the ship right from the jump?
To be honest, I'm buying it.
Really?
Yeah.
You buying in on Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
Because of him or because the talent around him?
Because of his ability to take the talent around him, bring it together and elevate it.
Now, their receivers are top notch. They got some quality young receivers there. My boy Rome Odunze, who's going to be in the running for offensive rookie of the year.
And I'm not a Bears fan by any stretch, but I'm buying all that right now.
I think there are a number of teams that sort of have been on the fringe or struggling that may make a leap, may make a jump and surprise some people. And the Bears, they've had everything else except the quarterback, and now you got a former Heisman Trophy winner. You might be right on that.
So you were kind of non-committal there. You might be right.
No, I can't.
That's fair enough.
I don't know why I have a problem saying you're right, Righty. That's a great point. It's just the naysayer in me, the skeptic in me. I can't be fully all in on that. You could be right though.
Whew. It sounds like your Eagles are going to be back this year.
I think so, man. And the thing that Ross talked about, and the thing that Ross talked about, the coordinators, and I know, who's Jay not a fan of? Fangio, Kellen Moore? I can't remember. He's not a fan. Fangio, yeah. But compared to what they had, this is a major, major upgrade for this Eagles team.
Yesterday, driving home, I was listening to the station. We have Xfinity Sports Radio, and they were playing
Infinity.
Yeah.
You said Xfinity. Yeah.
I did.
Them too.
Yeah. Infinity Sports Radio. They were playing Jalen Hurts talking about his coach with answering the questions. Do you guys not get along? That's
what'd he say? What'd he say? They can ask that.
I'm just glad to be here in this game.
Come on.
I think it's terrific. We're going to work. I appreciate the organization. We're just coming together, and I'm excited about the opportunities.
You got to be lockstep with your coach. You have to in the NFL. So hopefully they clear that up and, make amends and sing some Kumbaya together.
When we come back, one NFL coach explains how he learned to stop being a dumbass on Sactown Sports.
Unleash your backyard's potential